We raced in Mexico this weekend, and if you're quiet, you can still hear the echoes of Mexican tears from people who did not get to see the Mexican Grand Prix driver in the race. It is episode 125 of the Eaton Asphalt Podcast. You can't win the race in the first corner, buddy, but you can lose it. And Sergio Perez lost the race in the first corner. There were people at turn 4 that never got to see him race. Never to clap as he was going by.
Yeah, the Spanish fans that probably traveled a great distance to watch this, and potentially, fingers crossed, this isn't the case, but maybe their Mexican driver's last race in Mexico sucks.
Yeah, tough. I mean, what do you say? Especially it does. I mean, we'll talk about it, but Danny Ricciardo out qualifying you, the guy that's breathing down your neck, rumored to have a spot. He had a hat in the Red Bull store that had his name on it with the Red Bull logo and not the Toro Rosso logo or the AlphaTauri logo. I mean, it's just a tough one. It's a tough
They
one.
just had old ones from years ago.
Oh,
they were still like, oh, might as well get rid of these. What are the timing?
Cleaning out the warehouse. I like that.
Yeah. Like, oh, we found some extras. Here we go.
Put them up on the website. Totally not related to anything having to do with driver seats.
Yeah, it's a sunk cost, but they're just getting some good value out of this.
That's good spin. All right, we're doing another twofer because we've been ripping the twofers lately. We got our good, bad, and ugly gambling paddock, race recap, race predictions recap, Brazil Grand Preview, country fun facts, gambling paddock for Brazil, race predictions. Let's go. All right, starting off with our good, bad, and ugly. Marco, why don't you start first?
All right, I can do that. My good is going to be, you kind of said it. This is probably the easiest. This is low-hanging fruit here. Danny firing out Saturday with the P4 and quals, top it off with a P7 Sunday finish, battling the Mercedes cars towards the end of the race. Horner saying he's seeing the flashes of Danny. This on top of, like we said, the Checo issues. Like, the guy's in a pretty good space. He's got for sure his AlphaTauri seat. Playing the rumor mills, I'm sure he's loving the attention, loving the rumor mill talk, being like, hey, can I get back in the Red Bull seat after having one good race in 2023? Remember, one good race. People are forgetting this. This is like recency bias, being like, this guy's back. Let's cool the brakes a little bit, huh, fellas? Right? But I love it. That's my good. I mean, it was just a very positive story. I wouldn't say there's like a huge ton of like amazing good things that happened this weekend. So this was like a very, very good one.
Yeah. One good race that he had right after he just got last in the race before that. But recency bias.
Hey, Austin, tricky track, first race back in a couple of weeks, totally understandable.
He was hungover. He was so hungover.
Yeah, he's just got to it's like, stretching a little. He's got to get the whatever back. That one word that I'm thinking of. All right, my bad. Is going to be Yuki. Started the race P18, so just ahead of studs like Lance Stroll, but had some very good pace actually during the race. By the mid-race restart, he was all the way up to 8th, so 10 good places halfway through the race. And he was behind Oscar Piastri. They battled a few turns, had some slight contact, but I think once that slight contact hit, like by no surprise to anyone else, just put Yuki in just one of his tantrums, tried making another pass the next lap, causing more contact, spinning him out in the process. You see like his dashboard of him, like as he's trying to get back in the race, still just pounding on his steering wheel. The new age Yuki, though, we're typically used to seeing this Yuki in the past couple of years. New age Yuki, though, he seemed to have taken the blame after the race. Like, not full blame, but it wasn't pointing fingers, being like he's the problem. Seemed like he took a little bit of blame himself, which is, I think, huge progress. Next step is like handling emotions during the race.
Yeah.
But we're halfway through.
Big step, though. That's a big
two-step process. Step 1 accomplished. It only took him a couple of years in Formula One. Next step, maybe a couple more. Because that one's going to be a little hard for this guy. This little firecracker. Yeah. So that was my bad. He could have been my good, honestly, if that didn't happen. My ugly is going to be, there was actually a couple uglies I threw in there. Since I went first, I didn't have to kind of play, but I'm going to go with, let's see which one. I'm going to go with K-Max suspension failure around the halfway point because of the restart. Sudden snap forced his car to spear left into the barrier. The back brakes caught on fire. The car looked like it was just a pile of scraps. You go to the local junkyard. That's what the car kind of looked like. Pretty scary moment, honestly, just to see like a car going full speed and then just like a straight veer left. I think this is probably one of the bigger crashes that we've seen this year and probably the last couple of years. Obviously, we saw the multiple Schumacher crashes, but yeah, this one was a scary moment. Did seem like the barriers they 100% saved his life. So ugly could have been really ugly.
Yeah, I was like watching I went back to watch the onboard because I always like seeing like what the crash looks like
Yeah.
from the driver's perspective. And the onboard, he was talking to his engineers, being like, my rear left is absolutely gone. It's like it's completely gone. And then like not exaggerating, probably like 4 or 5 seconds later, he was in the wall. So it was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, dude, it's like all the way gone. Like you don't have any
The
tire.
radio comes back in. It's like, Kevin, you're correct. They're gone.
And dude, scarier was like if you kept watching that onboard, they were like, "Hey Kev, are you okay?" But he had already like he was frustrated, like got out of the car already. It was like, Kev, are you okay?" It's like, dude,
Oh
that's
no.
great. If you're an engineer and you don't have that much visibility and
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
just like
Like,
begging
what do
to
we
get
do? What do
the
we do?
guy, yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, good stuff with good, bad, and ugly. I will go next. So my good obviously was Danny Ricardo related. More Alpha Tauri, dude. Alpha Tauri going from P10 to P8, so tied with Alfa Romeo right now. But they have a higher finish, so they're P8. That is like tens of millions of dollars that Danny came in, got last race before, came in and absolutely crushed it, and now just like if I'm him, I'm negotiating. I'm like, hey, break me off like $2 million. I want fun money.
They said that is a $20 million jump. That's insane. Yeah, so definitely should get 10% of that. 100%.
Yeah, get 2 million. Yeah. If it's that much of a jump when you finish well, Alpha Tower should just finish well more often, and they could get
You
more.
think that that's like the easy way through this, right? It's
Yeah,
just keep doing that.
yeah, seems clear to me. But
Who am I? Just a
um,
fan.
also honorable mention the podium. The Mexican podium is so good, dude. Everybody, they brought on like third place, second place, and then Charles was like kind of looking around to like see where Max was. Where's Max, dude? Rising from the bottom of the floor. He's in the car with the big old sombrero on. It was awesome. Martin Garrix started playing right after with fireworks going on in the background. It's like, dude, what an electric fact.
Electric. Yeah.
Yeah, for all the fans who were just so sad to be there and have to watch not their countryman driver, like at least you got Martin Garrix after arguably like I think the best podium that exists in Formula One.
Yeah.
My bad is going to be retirements. 5 retirements. Obviously, Perez early on, Magnussen, Fernando, Stroll, and then Sargent toward the very end there. Just seems like a lot of people didn't end up finishing this race. I mean, I know it was hot. I know the air's thin. Like, make up whatever excuses you want, but 5 retirements. I saw that, and I know you're not going to believe me, dude, but I swear to God, I meant to say 5 for our race prediction. So.
Dang, dude, that's
I
crazy.
know.
And your gambling paddock, I bet that you mean to say
Yeah,
15 or more
I meant to
finish.
say under 17, not.
Oh, under darn it, dude. Freaking gosh, BetMGM. It is confusing.
I know, dude. I get scared when I use it. My ugly is gonna be. So we talked about fans in Mexico already. So that's gonna be my honorable mention. But like, not the most wealthy country in the world. Mexico is. Going like saving up months to go to finally get that ticket to go see Checo Perez driving, and then like again, if you're on turn 4, you didn't get to see Checo race. You saw him get to do the formation lap. Probably electric applause, but formation lap.
Got the juices flowing, I bet. Yeah.
But anyway, so my real ugly is going to be, dude, we talked about it last week with the Max, like, kind of showing how he's an asshole again type thing. After post race, you can see Lewis Hamilton just obviously, of course, doesn't like Max because of the history there. But what the biggest tip off to me was, instead of all racers do this kind of
Mhm.
handshake, they went in with the formal the
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, man, people hate you, dude. When was the last time you saw an F1 driver shake hands the way you do in like a business meeting?
Yeah. I mean, I know it's like you said, kind of like the Mercedes thing, the Mercedes Red Bull issue. I know like him and George have just rumors of them just walking past each other, not even speaking to each other when they were having their issues last year. Yeah, dude. I just feel like it's like always gonna be Lewis, and then it's gonna be another driver kind of always in the mix of like at this moment, Max is pissed off at you.
Yeah. But I just saw that, and obviously not as ugly as the fans experience in Mexico, but worth mentioning because it was like a 2 second little quick thing that I saw on the broadcast, and I was like, that's a problem. That's more of a problem than people are going to read into. But anyway, all right, good, bad, and ugly checked off in the books. Let's move on to our gambling paddock. Marco, you won, so I'm gonna let you go first here. You beat me in terms of how much money. We both won, but you won
Both
the
in the bottom. Yeah. Lando top three. The good jinx worked. Did not get it half a unit. Charles top three plus 400. Did it get it half a unit? Winning margin way off. Between 0 and 6 seconds, half a unit. So I came back with 1 unit, $20 on the weekend
not bad.
to 432 to 452.
Yeah, nice. 452, dude. You're scratching and clawing back up to
I'm
even.
coming back. All that work for Lando fucking me over for. I'd be probably close to $600 for goddamn
You
Lando.
would be booling if you did it.
Yeah,
You got cut in that Lando spin cycle.
my goddamn stubborn head being like, this guy can't keep doing this.
I went into the race weekend with 298 bucks. I bet over 17 cars to finish the race. A lot of retirements. I got pole winner to finish the race. Charles Leclerc was on pole. But I did get Sergio not to finish. That sucker cashed real fast, half a unit. So it put me positive on the weekend, up 15 bucks. So I'm above 300 again, above 60% of my money.
Nice.
I'm the best. Let's go from gambling paddock to our race recap.
All right, starting with our quals on Saturday. Some surprises. Obviously, the big one I think for me in Q1 is Lando Norris having some issues and getting P19. Ended up coming and starting in P17 due to Stroll having to start from the pits. So that was kind of a surprise. And then Danny calling, like we said, qualifying P4. Out-qualified Sergio by one position. Just shocking in the two different cars that they have. One other thing that's pretty tough to hear, obviously our boy Charles, he is superb on Saturday. Max has 10 wins from Charles's pole position. So I think that is more than Charles has wins by, I
Yeah.
think, a good margin, actually.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty tough thing to see, to be honest. To just be like, hey, the car does have the performance at least. And a one lap thing. I know that Ferrari was pretty surprised, especially for the front row lockout in general. But yeah, just the fact that we can't capitalize on Sunday is just not ideal.
Do you think Max is excited when Charles gets pole? He's like, yes.
He's like, my chances are probably better now actually than me getting pole. So yeah, honestly, kind of. But outside of that, kind of no major other surprises outside of those, I would say.
Yeah. All right, let's move into our P5, our top five in the Constructors Championship. P5 Aston Martin, 0 points on the weekend. So staying at 236 points. Fernando Alonso, P13 to DNF. Lance Stroll starting P20, scratching and clawing up to P17 like he always does. I mean, starting from P20, right? Starting from the pits again. He's doing the old Sergio Perez, try to gain as many positions as you can so you can at least spin it like, at least I gained a lot of positions. And then the only other thing I got on Aston Martin is the second straight week for Alonso to DNF. Missed opportunity for Lance. We said last time around, we said, hey, all you got to do to get points and get better than your teammate is for your teammate not to finish the race. Didn't finish the race, still DNF'd.
Yeah. My other ugly was going to be Aston Martin.
Nice.
ASS. Yeah. Because
Nice.
they're terrible. If we were going to start the year off fresh, clean slate, they would be P7 maybe. They're not P5. I think AlphaTauri is probably like looking better than them. Haas, after their upgrades recently, kind of competitive. I don't think they're a top 5 team.
That stinks.
Not really. I don't know. Does
Dude,
it?
it all started from when Fernando was like, hey, all right,
Oh, never.
last time we're not on the podium, and then he's absolutely the bed. Well, his team has. You can't put it all on Fernando, but
Yeah.
tough.
The rumor mills were cooking, like we said with Danny, Fernando. I think I saw 3 different rumors from 3 different people. Rumor that he's going to retire, rumor that he's staying with Aston Martin, rumor that he's going to go to Red Bull as well. So I think things are just pretty hectic right now in the like finishing out these second seats. Red Bull doesn't know what to do. I bet Alonso's like, do I want to deal with this again? So it's been a fun little rumor mill going on after this race weekend. Moving on to our P4 McLaren, 14 points on the weekend. Lando, P17 all the way up to P5. Oscar Piastri, P7 to P8. Lando just, I mean, he was the other good, just an absolute stellar drive on Sunday for, his unfortunate move on Saturday. Made up 12 positions and honestly probably could have been better. I think he pit during the yellow after the K-Mag crash. Then it went to a red flag. And so, kind of a waste of time there, maybe dropped a couple places by doing so. Oscar's main win of the weekend was just really messing with Yuki. And he handled that defense. He defended it so well that just pestered him enough, the contact, everything like that. And he, lucky for his car not to get destroyed. He's been on the bad end of those kind of bump ins the last, during summer break, right before summer break with Hamilton and who was it? Signs, where he did get the unfortunate bumps and it affected his car. Luckily, did not affect his car too much. So, still strong. 14 points is probably not that they were expecting, especially if Lando was up there. We could have seen him for sure on the podium, maybe a race winner for how fast he was going.
Yeah. A good race, honestly.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Very disheartening to see last in qualifying from Lando, but yeah, overall I was pretty happy. 14 points seems like a pretty good amount when you qualify last. P3 Ferrari, 27 points on the weekend, 349 points total. Carlos Sainz starting on the front row in P2, only going back to P4. Charles Leclerc starting pole and ending up on the last step of the podium in P3. Charles' first podium finish since back in Belgium.
Yeah.
That's
almost last week and now this week.
Almost last week and now this week. Wow. Damn. So back in July, so he kept it from July, August, September, October. He kept it within 3 months. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew that time clock was coming. He's like, I gotta get on there.
And then if Charles didn't get the penalty for the Checo crash, guess who would have been pushed into the podium race once again after the podium was already announced? There should be a thing where the FIA wink wink nudge nudge just doesn't give a penalty if they know it's going to get Carlos onto the podium, just to see how much they can run that number up, because 4 is a lot already. But
yeah.
if they can make
once we
double
get
digit,
starting to 2 hands, starting counting these guys off, dude. This guy's just right place, right time. Seems a little funky, if you ask me.
It's just just commit to the bit, dude. Commit to the bit.
This guy just doesn't like to win. It just sneaks in. What if they do a 3, the podium? This has definitely never happened. He's in 4th. All 3 guys on the podium get checked after the race. All 3 DSQ'd, and he takes the win without being on the podium. Could you imagine?
A win not on the podium is hilarious. Yeah.
Speak that into existence, hopefully. But yeah, in general, not too bad for Ferrari. Obviously, the goal was to, inch closer to Mercedes, who is our P2 team. 27 points as well. So they just same, which is unfortunate for Ferrari. 27 points on the weekend, 371. So they're still 22 points ahead. Lewis Hamilton, P6 to P2. George Russell, P8 to P6. Really the only major thing I think was just Lewis on Sunday was fantastic. He was so quick. And we really saw like the last 2 weeks, Lewis has had a substantial gap between him and George on performance and speed. Also, I think he's loved by Mexican fans. He's loved by Brazil. Like this is kind of his home territory right now. I think he's feeling pretty comfortable here.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think Austin. I think this was Austin was going back a couple weeks was the second time in his that he was on the podium since starting in Austin in 2013.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Which he should have.
Yeah, you were talking about how Lewis is pretty beloved down in Mexico. I think he just vibes with like Latin Americans. And if you saw, dude, it was so they interviewed, I think it was 1, 2, 3. Like they interviewed Max, Lewis, and then Charles. Lewis like took the mic and the crowd was going absolutely bonkers. And then Charles took the mic.
Oh, dude,
everyone was just crushing it. He was getting booed so hard. And he was like, wow, a lot of booing.
He's like, I don't know what I did, guys. Basically, like I'm to defend myself to this crowd right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, dude. Doesn't matter if you did it on purpose or not, or if it was your fault. Fuck you, dude.
You know whose fault it was? The Ferrari fans in the stands that the other Red Bull fans beat the shit out of for no goddamn reason, huh? Those guys were asking for it, huh? Pieces of shit. Huh? Yeah, lifetime ban for those. What if the Ferrari fans got lifetime bans? They're like, dude, I just got the shit beat out of me for no reason.
Yeah, dude.
What did I do?
Insult to injury, dude. It's just like, no, everyone
you
involved.
were part of it. Everyone involved. Like, oh my God. That was a while. That reminded me of a drunk college like video bar fight where he's like, oh my God, this is just insane. This one guy's just wailing on these poor people.
Yeah. I don't know. Like what something had to have been said, right? Something like there was either a chirp, like going both ways. I don't know how you get to the point where you go full fisticuffs and the fans they're in the stand.
Dude, I could very much see like those like the Red Bull Mexican fans just being like, fuck you, and like it's like, hey, dude, what do you mean? And then they'd maybe defend themselves, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, he's like, don't you dare defend yourself.
What'd you say? He meant to.
All right, so let's go. Finally, let's wrap up with our P1 team. 25 points on the weekend, less than Mercedes, less than Ferrari. Are they going to make a run?
3 races.
3 races to go. Red Bull gets negative 100 points every race. Who knows? 731 points. Max Verstappen P3 up to P1. Sergio Perez, we've talked about at P5 to DNF. Max just perfectly splitting the 2 Ferraris. Was an excellent jump from him. They say you want to be in P3 at the start of this race just to get that double toe, and he was. You'd think the Ferrari boys would work a little more together. I think Christian Horner at the beginning of the race was saying that. He was like, look, like, logic dictates that they will like work together to keep Max behind going into the first turn. Where did that go?
There's like one's like, I'm getting my inside, I'm getting my outside. And I was like, okay.
And I was like, oh, I don't know if you guys remember, like I'm faster than both of you guys. So
down the middle, I don't even have to turn. Okay.
Yeah. And then Perez, his race outside of the turn was a great start, great jump. He was cruising. So yeah, for 0.0004% of that race, dude, it was an awesome race for Sergio.
Could you imagine if you extrapolate that to, 71 laps? Killing it.
Yeah, he's absolutely murdering it. But yeah, I mean, do you think he's gone? Do you think no matter, like, let's say he wins the next 3 races, is he gone?
Oh, dude, if he wins the next 3 races, no. If he wins the next 3 races, not.
If he wins one of the next 3 races,
I think he stays. If he wins one of they might have decided before he has a chance to win a race. Is the only thing. Once again, more rumor mills, seeing all these F1 journalists and reporters like doing the gifts of things going crazy. So I don't know if this is rumor mills or if they're like, hey, this has been decided. I remember Helmut make a kind of a weird comment being like, oh, just wait till after the Mexican Grand Prix before things are said. So I think, it's definitely out in the ether. I don't know if it's set in stone and they're just waiting on it. It was also heartbreaking to see Sergio getting out of the car. Like you could see his onboard. He was crying like in the onboard. And you're like, damn, dude, like this is heartbreaking for you.
Yeah.
But I think he's handling it well too. He's like, hey, if someone deserves a seat more than me, like hope for the best for them. So I'm a big Sergio guy after all this, after the shit he has to deal with, and
Yeah.
like all the second seat drivers have to deal with. A lot of them, all the other ones have crumbled well before his duration. So
True.
I got to give him a little tip of the cap for that.
Yeah. I'll give it to him. I think it's already decided. I think he could win 2 of the next 3 races, and they'd already be like, "Yeah, but you should have been way ahead of Lewis
Yeah.
Hamilton." And he's just like, I mean, where's the standings right now as far as P2? Lewis is only 20 points behind. If he holds off Lewis, then I'm with it. If he doesn't hold off Lewis, like I'm sorry, you're the driver, like you can't be in that seat. We gotta get new blood in the seat. And by new blood, I mean Australian old blood, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Do you think that they do a switch, or do you think they're like, hey, you're retired?
I mean, Sergio balled out in the Force India or the Racing Point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got a win there in Abu Dhabi. Like, why not? Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, for him, I mean, I feel like this is probably a good, like, kind of the Bottas, like, hey, tail end of your career, you're not going to be racing here for much. Like, you're not racing for wins now. You're racing for just probably money. And so I could see him. And if you ask Helmut Marko, this guy's not a competitor, he's just out here having fun. So the AlphaTauri team seems like a fun team.
He doesn't even have the mental capacity to know what a competitor is, if you ask.
Exactly, dude. He's not like those Germans.
All right. Let's move on from that to our race predictions recap. All right. Marco extended the lead going into the weekend, 35-22, Marco's lead. I did get Sergio crash DNF, so got it in the first couple seconds of the race.
I switched with Sargent because you were going to do Ocon, and I was like, I'm going to come in, and I screwed myself there. But I got Max as winner and Charles as pole. So cool.
I mean, that's a 1-2 punch.
That is a 1-2 punch for Max. Yes.
All right, let's move on from our race predictions recap to our Brazil Grand Preview.
All right, moving on to our Brazil Grand Prix, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace, more broadly known as Interlagos. So there's 2 lakes that this track is in between. 2 lakes that I'm not going to pronounce, both man-made. It's just very pretty part of that like area, just very nice. This is also where Lollapalooza in Brazil takes place. Both just, I think, kind of ragers as an event, social event. Probably, sure. Just drug-free for both of them as well. Located in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Pretty short track as well, similar to Mexico. 71 laps, 15 turns. I think the biggest thing that I like that is talked about with this is this goes counterclockwise. So unlike most other tracks that go clockwise, this is the complete opposite. Looking at it actually looks odd seeing the turn numbers go the opposite direction. Yeah. Sector 3, leading into Sector 1, where they're more privy to kind of like reward top speed cars with some of the nice straights. It's basically like Sector 3 is like a very, very long, slow left-hander. And then the left-hander has like a little bit of more like, and then each turn is just a little bit more on the left-hander, kind of curves all the way around. So like they're going to be able to make some moves, go top speed around most of that straight. We got bank corners, which is always a nice crowd favorite. 2 DRS zones into the straights at Sector 3, like I said, and then Sector 1. And then Sector 2 will like reward cars kind of better taking medium speed corners. Kind of goes in, it almost goes like Sector 1, little squiggly in between Sector 2, and then a big round thing is Sector 3. So the thing with being counterclockwise, you're probably going to hear this a bunch on the weekend, is just like, oh, most drivers it won't affect them. But because of the centripetal force pushing these drivers' head to the right instead of the left, some different muscle necks are used. And so, yeah, it's just going to be like difficult, a little different from the drivers of, kind of the testing and everything. Drivers really like this track. It was home of Senna. The Brazilian people have a huge prize for Senna. It's basically like the second Carnival. Given that this typically happens toward the end of the season, multiple drivers had secured the championship race here. So it's not necessarily like, this is more kind of like a celebration for a lot of these drivers, having fun, enjoying it. Important parts of the track, the turns 1 through 3 is the S do Senna or Senna S, right at the beginning of sector 1. And then from turn 3 is the Curva del Sol, or curve of the sun, turn 3 being like a big sweeping left-hander that leads into the DRS zone in sector 1. So overall, pretty interesting track. Like this is an atypical track that we'd see for most other tracks around the grid. Weather is going to be 87, thunderstorms on Friday, Saturday, 81 with a chance of rain. And then Sunday, a lot cooler, 73 with a little chance of rain, like 9%. So hopefully some clear skies this weekend, especially on Sunday.
Love it. Let's move on from our Brazil Grand Preview to our country fun facts. All right, country fun facts. Marco, you went first in good, bad, and ugly. I can go first in country fun facts here. The Amazon rainforest covers, I looked it up, it's either 5.5 million square kilometers or 6.7, because I found both many times. I think it was just like the rumor mill went for one of them, or whatever it is. But if it is 6.7, it's bigger than India and Argentina combined, as far as land area.
So when you say probably not 6.7 square kilometers, that's pretty small.
6.7
right?
million. Did I say 6.7?
You might have. And I was like,
I don't know
I'm
what a
pretty sure that's
kilometer
my
is,
neighborhood.
dude. I'm American. I don't know what that is.
Kilo, that's huge. It's fine.
The Brazilian city of Recife is home to a giant crab-shaped building known as the Giant Crab, designed by the famous Brazilian architect Francisco Bernand. Hilarious. Why did they do this? Why did anybody do this? And then finally, because of Amazonian deforestation, it is estimated that we are making more than 137 species extinct every day. That number is right. 137 species. Get them out of here. We want to print paper.
That is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
I mean, if you think about it, we're getting rid of 137 species every day. There's too many species around. If for every year we're getting rid of like 30,000 species, do we need that many species?
Just in that area too. Yeah. Not the rest of the world either,
Yeah.
Too many fun. That's what I needed to hear.
Here's the species we need: humans, cows, chickens, dogs, cats, fish. 6.
All right. The main ones, yeah.
Birds. Some birds.
Some birds.
The real
that are real.
Yeah.
All right, good country fun facts. I tried to find some good ones like from Mexico. A little harder this time. I feel like Brazil doesn't have a ton of fun stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try. Like I said, Carnival is one of the world's biggest carnival, unless you talk to anyone from Evansville, Indiana, who says Fall Festival is the best and biggest. If you know anyone from Evansville, they've said something about that. Sorry, listeners, if you haven't. You're lucky if you haven't met anyone from Evansville. Anyway, set to generate just under $1 billion from the carnival alone, which is pretty nice revenue generating, I would say. And about 5 million people attend.
That's too many people.
Yeah, it is. I also don't know how long this carnival is. Can't be a day. Just no way. Speaking of funny animals in Brazil does have a snake island and several other snake infested areas. Some towns will do like a snake day where they'll capture all the local snakes and set them free. So there's just snakes everywhere in Brazil, it seems like.
Yeah, pass.
Yeah. Every fact I'm hearing, I'm like, this makes me want to go to Brazil less and less. And then last one, though, just huge shout out, Brazilian wax.
Shout out.
That's big. That's revolutionary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that goes for my country fun facts.
All right, let's move on to our gambling paddock for the Brazilian Grand Prix. All right, gambling paddock. Marco is beating me $452 to 313. As a quick reminder, we started out with 500. We're using $20 as our unit. Marco, I'm not gonna lie, it's time to make some big moves. All right, season's closing in, like Tom Cruise, where he's
Big moves, yeah.
and the gate's coming down. He's got to like jump, dive under. I'm gonna go Max Verstappen, race winner, triple unit special. So 3 units, Max Verstappen to win the race. Lance Stroll in the points, plus 250. So Max Verstappen to win the race minus 300. Lance Stroll to get points plus 250. McLaren, both drivers in the points, give me minus 275. That's going to be a 1 unit special as well. And then Leclerc or Sainz on the podium, plus 25, 1 unit. So in total, I'm betting 5.5 units this weekend.
You're not messing around.
I'm not messing around at all.
Wow. All right. Well, I mean, you're bound to hit some of those, for sure. All right, mine. I'm going to go opposite because I have this lead. I'm going to try to play it safe. I'm going to go with both McLarens, similar to yours, but finish in the top 6 plus 100. I'm going to go 1 unit on that. Danny in the points plus 110. I'm going to do half a unit.
Fair.
That's it.
All right. So 1.5 unit is all you're betting.
That's all I'm betting, dude. That is it. And you're not going to judge me or convince me to do more.
All right, cowardice, but I get it. All right, let's move on to our last sector, our race predictions. All right, race predictions. I can do less about this in terms of closing the gap. Marco beating me 35 to 22 right now. I'm going to go Crasher DNF, give me Pierre Gasly, Max Verstappen winner, Valtteri Bottas last place, driver of the day, Lewis Hamilton, suck it, delete. Douche of the day, Max Verstappen, wildcard prediction. I'm going to say McLaren, no points in the GP, just in case my gambling goes horribly wrong. Doing a little bit of a hedge there. Fastest lap, Max, pole, Max, and then 4 cars not to finish the race.
All right, nice. My Crasher DNF is going to be Stroll because he made it out alive last week. There's no way he keeps doing that. Winner, Lando. Last place, Kevin Magnussen. Driver of the day is gonna be. It's gonna be Danny. It's gonna be Danny.
Okay. He should have got it last weekend.
Yeah, it actually should have. That's kind of douche of the day is gonna be Checo. He's checked out. Wildcard prediction. I'm gonna say Ferrari cuts it within 8 points.
And where are they now?
22.
You and these. All right, fine, dude. Fine. You're wearing me down like a pencil.
We're back. All right. Fastest lap is going to be Lewis. Pole is going to be Lando. How many cars don't finish? 3.
Wonderful. These twofers. No one understands how hard this is, dude. All that drivers, they're jealous. I'm jealous of them, dude. Their workload is not nearly what ours is.
I mean, just give us a break, right?
Yeah, finally. We get one after this weekend, which we deserve.
Yeah,
I think it was like these guys need to rest.
They were going to throw another race in, and we said no.
Yeah, we said we'll leave, and they said
wear them out. Whatever it takes. Keep these guys.
All right, everybody. Appreciate y'all for listening. We'll see you on the other side of the Brazilian Grand Prix.
See you, assholes.
See you, assholes.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.